Okay, so have you ever heard like one of those like campfire stories about like a creature in the woods?
Oh, yeah, definitely. I mean, who hasn't, right?
Yeah, and they always like give you the chills a little bit. Even if you know it's not real, it's still like,
Yeah, like something primal kicks in.
yeah, exactly right. And well, that's kind of what we're talking about today. Except, well, this one, it's not just some made-up story. This is the Jersey Devil.
The Jersey Devil. Yeah, I mean, it's become kind of like a legend, right?
Yeah, it's a legend. And it's a legend that's been around for centuries. It's a story born right here in the United States.
Right here in the U.S.
So we're doing a deep dive today into the Jersey Devil.
All right, so what do we have to work with? Like, where are we going with this deep dive?
We've got eyewitness accounts.
Eyewitness accounts, always good.
Yeah, always good. We've got like old newspaper clippings from way back when, like 1909, like when everybody was freaking out about it.
Oh, yeah. That was a crazy time, wasn't it?
Yeah, and we even have some historical research
Uh,
that explores how the Jersey Devil went from like this feared fiend that everybody was terrified of into like a beloved state symbol.
oh, wow. That is interesting, the transformation. I
Yeah.
mean, from feared to beloved.
It's fascinating, right?
What's so cool about it to me is like how it's like really a part of New Jersey's identity. You know, it's like
Yeah.
more than just a scary story. It says something about us, about our history and our relationship with the land.
Yeah, and like our rebellious spirit, maybe.
Yeah, maybe even that too. A little bit of Jersey attitude in there.
Okay, but before we get ahead of ourselves,
Right.
let's start at the beginning.
Okay. The origin story. Where does it all begin?
Exactly. So, Mother Leeds and her curse.
Mother leads.
Tell us about that.
Okay, so as with all good legends, right, there are like a couple different versions.
Yeah.
But the most common one that you hear, it takes us back to the early 1700s
Right.
to this woman named Jane Leeds. Now, she already had 12 children.
Well, yeah.
12 kids. Can you imagine?
That's a lot of kids.
And she's pregnant again with her 13th. So it's said that in a moment of, maybe some despair, she cried out, "Let it be the devil."
Okay, I get it. With 13 kids, I can see where a little frustration might slip out, you know?
Yeah.
But like, did she really mean it literally? Or was it just like, a figure of speech?
Yeah, who knows, right? Who knows what she was really thinking? But that's where the story goes. And on a stormy night in 1735, Jane gave birth to this 13th child.
Oh, okay. So far so good, I guess. So like a normal baby.
Well, at first it seemed like a normal baby, but then, well, things got a little strange.
Got a little strange. Okay, so here's where it gets good for our listeners.
Hmm.
Paint us a picture. What did this so-called devil baby look like?
All right, so picture this, okay? A serpentine body,
Serpentine, okay.
a horse's head, bat-like wings,
Wait. A horse head, like a full horse head.
a full horse head, and cloven hooves.
Okay, that's a unique combination.
Right. I mean, it's both terrifying and also kind of fascinating at the same time, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean you can't help but picture it. It's a wild image.
It's a wild image, yeah.
Okay, so what happened next? This creature, I mean, did it stick around like at the Leeds house?
Oh, no, no, no.
No.
Not at all. According to the legend, it let out this blood-curdling shriek, attacked everybody in the room, I mean, including its own mother,
Oh, wow.
and then flew up the chimney and disappeared into the Pine Barrens.
Okay, so the Jersey Devil was quite the house guest.
Yeah, not the kind you want to invite over for dinner.
Definitely not. But so okay, it's gone now. But how did this one-time event, how did it become like a legend that people still talk about centuries later?
Okay, that is the question, isn't it? How does a story like this, how does it stick around for so long?
Well, it seems that over time, the Jersey Devil became like a scapegoat.
Go scapegoat.
Yeah, for all sorts of like misfortunes that were happening in the region.
Like, give us some examples. Okay, so, like, crops failing,
Uh-huh.
blame the Jersey Devil,
Okay.
milk going sour, Jersey Devil,
Makes sense.
strange noises in the night, you guessed it, Jersey Devil.
Okay, so it's almost like the Jersey Devil became this like symbol of the unknown, right?
Yeah.
Like the wildness of the Pine Barrens.
Exactly, like a force of nature almost.
Yeah, and it's so interesting, isn't it? Like as humans, how we always try to explain those things that we just can't explain.
Totally. We crave explanations, even if they're supernatural ones.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like we wanna believe that there's a reason for things.
Right. Right.
Even if that reason is a scary, devil-like creature.
Yeah, it wasn't just like, regular people who said they saw the Jersey Devil.
Right. Oh, yeah. No, there were some pretty prominent figures who claimed to have encountered it, too.
Yeah, like there's that famous story about Commodore Stephen Decatur.
Oh, Commodore Decatur. Yeah, the war hero.
Yeah, the war hero.
You know the story, right?
Well, kinda. Remind me.
Okay, so Decatur's at this ironworks
Uh-huh.
in Burlington, New Jersey, and he's inspecting cannonballs.
Okay.
And as the story goes, he sees the Jersey Devil flying across the range.
Okay, wait. So he sees it.
He sees it.
And what does he do?
Well, being Commodore Decatur, he grabs a cannon and fires a cannonball straight through it.
Wait, what? He shot a cannonball at the Jersey Devil.
He did.
I mean, what was he thinking?
Who knows? Maybe he was skeptical, wanted to prove it wasn't real. Or maybe he was, I don't know, trying to protect the town. He was a war hero after all.
Right. I mean, but what happened to the Jersey Devil?
Well, that's the crazy part.
Uh-huh.
The story says that it was totally unharmed. Like the cannonball went right through it and it just kept flying.
What?
Yeah, as if nothing had happened.
That's wild. It's like it just adds to the legend,
Oh, yeah, definitely. Makes it even more mysterious, more, well, devilish.
Okay, but let's jump ahead a bit, okay?
Yeah. Okay, where to?
To a time when the Jersey Devil, it really hit the big time.
Yeah.
The early 1900s.
Oh, yeah, the early 1900s.
It went national then, right? Like the whole country was talking about it.
Oh, absolutely. It was like Jersey Devil mania.
Yeah.
And it all really kicked off in the late 1800s. And then in the early 1900s, it just exploded, sightings everywhere. Especially there was this one week in January 1909.
1909.
It was insane. I mean, newspapers were just filled with stories.
Really?
Oh, yeah, stories of the Jersey Devil, terrorizing South Jersey, even parts of Philadelphia.
Yeah.
It was a big deal.
Okay, but here's something I've always wondered about. Like all the descriptions of the Jersey Devil from back then,
Yeah.
they're all over the place, right?
They are all over the place.
Yeah. Some people said it was like the classic bat-winged creature, but then others were saying it had like a collie dog's head, crane legs,
Yeah.
even kangaroo-like features.
I know, right? Like, which one is it?
Yeah, how do you explain that? I mean, how can there be so many different descriptions?
Well, I think part of it's just, misidentification, especially at night. It's dark, people are scared, shadows can play tricks on your eyes.
Right.
You see something quick, you don't get a good look, and suddenly, boom, it's the Jersey Devil.
Yeah, but still, like a kangaroo.
Well, there's also the fact that, stories, they tend to get, well, embellished over time.
Yeah, that's true.
People hear a story, they add their own little details, and it just gets more and more outlandish.
Right, like a game of telephone almost.
Exactly. So what starts as a sighting of a, strange bird or something,
Yeah.
it turns into a kangaroo with wings and glowing eyes.
Right. Okay, but all those stories, I mean, it wasn't just, for fun, right? People were genuinely terrified during that 1909 panic.
Oh, they were terrified. I mean, schools closed, factories shut down. It was like the whole region was on lockdown.
Yeah, that's a serious level of fear.
It was.
So, why? What was it about that time, do you think, that caused such widespread panic?
Well, the newspapers definitely played a role. They were really hyping it up.
Sensationalized.
Exactly. Headlines like Jersey Devil on Rampage, Winged Monster Terrorizes City. I mean, you read that,
You'd be scared.
you'd be terrified.
But it wasn't just the newspapers, right? There had to be something more to it.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, there were probably some deeper social anxieties at play, too.
Oh, like what?
Well, I mean, think about the time period. This was a time of, rapid social change, industrialization, urbanization, immigration. It was a lot for people to process.
So they were already on edge.
Yeah, exactly. And then this creature, this symbol of, chaos and the unknown, it just tapped into those anxieties.
So it was almost like a way to project their fears onto something tangible.
Yeah, exactly. Give it a name, give it a face. It makes it easier to cope, even if that face is a horse's head with bat wings.
Right. It's fascinating, isn't it?
It is.
How this creature, this symbol of fear, it eventually became something else entirely.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy to think that, something that was once so feared could become, well, almost beloved.
Right. So how did that happen? How did the Jersey Devil go from monster to I don't know, mascot almost.
Well, that's what we're going to find out after the break. Yeah, it's like a complete 180, right? From like
Mhm.
this terrifying monster to something that people, well, I guess they kind of embrace.
Yeah, and it's not just like, a tolerance. It's like genuine affection in some cases.
Right. Like it's part of their identity, their state pride.
Yeah. Yeah, and it really started to shift, it seems like, back in the 1930s.
Yeah, the 1930s, that's when things started to change. The fear, it kind of started to fade away.
And it was replaced by, what, like a sense of, I don't know, playfulness.
Yeah, playfulness, curiosity, even.
Yeah, I can imagine those conversations, like, oh, remember that time the Jersey Devil stole my fishing lure?
Exactly. Or like, I heard it helped Mrs. Smith find her lost cat.
Right, like it became this almost mischievous figure.
Yeah, not so much a monster anymore, but like a trickster,
Yeah, and then in 1938, it became official.
Official.
Yeah, the Jersey Devil was designated as get this, the state demon of New Jersey.
The state demon. That's amazing. I mean, no other state has anything like that.
I know, right? It's so unique.
So, like, what do you think happened? What caused this complete shift in perception?
Well, I think part of it is, well, it's just so absurd,
Absurd.
Yeah, I mean, think about it. A creature with a horse head, bat wings, and cloven hooves.
Yeah, it's pretty out there.
It's out there. And at some point, I think people just started to, I don't know, laugh about it.
Right. Like, it's so ridiculous, you can't help but find it a little bit funny.
Exactly, exactly. And then there's the regional pride element,
Oh, yeah, that Jersey pride.
New Jersey, especially South Jersey, they've always been kind of in the shadow of,
Yeah.
New York and Philadelphia.
All right, the big neighbors.
So embracing the Jersey Devil, it's like embracing something that's uniquely theirs.
Yeah, it's like saying, "Hey, we're different, we're a little weird, and we're proud of it."
Yeah, I like that. It's like their own little badge of honor.
And let's not forget about pop culture, right?
Oh yeah, pop culture's had a field day with the Jersey Devil.
I mean, it's been in books, movies, TV shows, even video games.
Yeah, it's everywhere.
Yeah.
And all that exposure, it's just made it even more familiar, more, I don't know, acceptable, maybe.
Yeah, and it kind of takes away the fear, when you see something, portrayed in a movie or a TV show, it's not so scary anymore.
Right, right. It becomes more like a character almost.
Exactly.
So the Jersey Devil, it's gone from this terrifying monster to this symbol of regional pride, this pop culture icon.
Yeah, and all because of a story, a story that's been passed down for generations.
And a story that, well, it still captures our imagination, doesn't it? I mean, there's still that little part of us that wants to believe, that wants to think, what if it's real?
Right. What if out there in those Pine Barrens, there really is something lurking in the shadows?
That's a good thought, isn't it?
It is. It's what keeps the legend alive.
And it reminds us that there's still mystery in the world.
And that maybe, just maybe, some of those campfire stories, they might be more than just stories.
So to our listeners, if you're ever in New Jersey, take a trip to the Pine Barrens. Keep your eyes open. You never know what you might see.
And keep your ears open, too. You might just hear the shriek of the Jersey Devil.
And with that, folks, we wrap up another deep dive. Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep those campfire stories burning.